Yo, it's the guy with the tie. So, after Virtual Magic Kingdom closed, I had started to notice that people were dispersing into different, things to do. And one of these things that people would play were some of the other Disney games. Now, at the time, chat games for kids, they really weren't many. Like, Club Penguin at the time wasn't owned by Disney. Club Penguin was its own separito game. And a few months after Virtual Magic Kingdom closed, Club Penguin was bought out by Disney. So now Disney owned Club Penguin. And when Disney owns Club Penguin, oh my god, they messed it up. Because before, anyone could buy anything out of the catalog. And now you can't do anything. And it's annoying and it's stupid. You have to have a membership which is like $10 and it's Penguins and it's stupid. But that's beside the point. I went to Club Penguin and then I was like, this is dumb. It's not my... I was lingering on to Virtual Magic Kingdom. So what I thought I needed was something totally different. Totally differento. And one of the other games that Disney had that was almost the same age, if not older than Virtual Magic Kingdom, was Toontown Online. And this is back way when BossBot was just new. It was in the new. And I remember wanting to play it, but I really didn't take an interest. So right after Virtual Magic Kingdom, I asked my parents for a membership on Toontown, and I got my membership on Toontown, and that's when I began taking an interest into Toontown. So I joined, made my character. I had a mouse. It was a green mouse. And I remember going through and training, and yeah. Now, Toontown, they make you train, and they make you shoot, train. So, it was a pain in the ass, and you kept having to do more and more quests, or they called them Toon Tasks. So you do these Toon Tasks, and you would battle monsters, go in buildings, and stuff like that. And I had eventually made my way into Daisy Gardens. And Daisy Gardens is that place where you come to one of the dungeons, I guess I should say, and they call them a headquarters. So, when I got to Daisy Gardens, I took quests to make me go to this place. And back then, you went to this courtyard. You went inside to the factory, not to the boss, but you went to go to the factory. And you went inside, and there would be, like, depending on where you were, there would be a lot of people. And people would just be hopping onto the elevators. And at the time, I was so noobish that I would just hop on an elevator, and 3 other people would come on, and we'd do the thing. And that's how it was for most of my Toontown days. And every time I needed a new part or I needed a new quest, I would do this, however many times I needed to. And it was the same thing. Or I went into the side entrance, which was something different. Sometimes there would be people over there. And so I did that. And I remember getting to Minnie's Melody Land, and then I got really bored of the game. And there was this bridge of time where I think my membership expired, and I didn't play for a long time. And then, within a course of about 3 months, I came back on. And, I had to be 12 at the time, and I rejoined. And, I remember having to create a new account. I wasn't too happy, but I figured it would let me choose my gags with thought this time. Because back then, I chose whatever I thought was cool. Today, you gotta really plan out your type shit thing. So, I I leveled up and I got to Daisy Gardens, and they had updated a lot of things. Furniture, clothing, and I don't remember how old I was, but I think they had started boarding groups or something. Oh my god, I cannot stand them. I remember coming and people wanting to invite me to the boarding group, and I didn't know what the hell it was. I thought it was like some kind of like guild, so I would say no because I wasn't interested in having a guild. So I rejected them, and I would wait by the thing, but everybody would be like appearing into the elevators, and I was like, what's going on? So then I found out what boarding groups are, and I hated them. I hated them so much. Just go on the elevator. Just do the old. Boarding groups are annoying because when they invite you, you can't really click on them and see what they got, and if they're noobs, they'll keep inviting you to your boarding group. When you go on the elevator, you can choose to go with these people, and it's better because they're not hassling you and threatening you to join their boarding group. And then there will be like experienced people that you need to go with your group because you got like two. You got one, Uber or whatever, and then you got you, which you're, middle level, and you're like a higher person, but they won't join you because you're too low. So all I had to say about this was change it back to its normal ways. Go back to the freaking elevators. It's a hassle to do boarding group. It's stupid, in my opinion. So I was done with that. Went to Minnie's Melody Land, and I stopped playing for a week. Played some of their games, and then I came back the next week. My membership was expiring, and I made it to like the Berg or Donald's Dock. I went to Donald's Dock, went to Daisy Gardens, because of Minnie's Melody Land, and I went to the Berg. And by the time I went to the Berg, I went to the Lawbot. Now, here's the problem. Everybody wants to do the Sellbot stuff. And then you'll come up to the point where the Sellbot stuff it's not on your Toon tasks. You don't need it. It's not a good challenge for you anymore, so you want something different. But there's like nobody at the Lawbot offices, so you have to wait there. And again, with the stupid boarding groups, you just... And another thing that really gets me going. Sellbot, anybody can go there. Okay, that's acceptable. That is acceptable. But then you have like these 20 laugh people coming to these Lawbot offices and then wanting to join your boarding group, inviting you to the boarding group, inviting you to the boarding group. And I'm like, okay, well, listen, you're 20 laugh. And unless you have, like, level 6 gags, there's no reason for you to be coming to the Lawbot offices. Or, at the time, Cashbot offices. There's no reason for it. So why, in Jesus' name, are you coming over here and trying to get into our boarding groups? Or trying to come with us onto the elevators? It makes no sense. If you only need, like, 11s and 12s, go to a building. Don't go to the Lawbot offices unless it says you have to kill like 20. That's different. Okay, yeah, and you should be at least good laugh. But if you're like 30, 40 laugh, don't be coming over to the Cashbot offices expecting to be in a boarding group 1, 2, 3. So, yeah. Then you have the role play. Toontown's not meant to be roleplay. It's meant to be a kid's RPG. I remember back in the good old days, there'd be a lot of roleplay, and inside the Toon HQ, you know what I'm talking about, Toontown Central, you go inside the Toon HQ and there'd be people behind the glass and they want you to adopt them. Okay, they had a role-playing community, but there's not really any way to roleplay in Toontown. You don't roleplay in Toontown. If you want to roleplay, if at the time VMK was still up, go to VMK. That's more the roleplay. There's no goal there. Toontown's different. You want to defeat the bosses. That's a goal. There's a goal. So that really splits the line between goal and no goal. And the no goal are usually chat sites, roleplay sites. The other one, no, goal, you do that. Now, sometimes in a goal, like Maple Story, there are roleplay, how should I say, communities. Now, there's not really a community where you roleplay. There's no designated community. You have to find a group. But if you went to Toontown Central, you could create a character like that 16 laugh, but they could still roleplay. And you use them just for roleplay, and then you had your main character, which you would use for the, the purpose of playing Toontown. So the roleplay community, back then there was no roleplay community. And then when I came back, there was a huge roleplay community. Oh, add me, come with me for a game show, boyfriend, girlfriend, dance type thing. And, it's, at the time, I was like, this is kind of dumb. There's a goal to this game, why waste your time? But it was nice if you were kind of tired of the, battling all these monster things. They had some mini games, but it didn't really amount to anything. So if you wanted a change, yeah, there was a small role-playing community, if you wanted something different. And that was their way of saying, hey, you get bored, leave it to the people to entertain you. And then they added these things, like a little, dancing fire hydrants, that type thing. And as a member, they had things to do when you got bored, because you'd play, you'd do everything, you'd do all your toon tasks, you'd be ready to go to the boss bot, and I remember the boss bot, it was horrible, I didn't like it that much. It was kind of repetitive because you did the same thing over and over and over and over, but it was fun the first few times. They had little mini games inside the thing, and they did have those in the Lawbot offices where they had little mini games. But after a while, you just got bored. So Toontown did have some things for you to do other than battling these monsters, which is a smart move. They had your house, you could tend to your house. They had gardening, the raceway, that was one of my good things to do. The Grand Prix, you can go chill out in the Grand Prix and make a few races. There's a couple people there, so you can get some good races in. They had the trolley games. They were always adding a lot of new trolley games, so that was fun. They had the roleplay community. That was the big one. That's where yeah. And then they had the building. The buildings, they're fun because they give you multipliers. That's for training. Although I'm a horrible person if I say go to a building and train. But if you're alone and you can handle it, it's a good multiplier. And if you go with a group that wants to train, it's a good multiplying. It's a good team. And then you make friends. You always battle with them. And it's a fun community. And for a month, it's not that bad. It's honestly, it keeps you occupied. And you can get into it, and you get into it, and you have fun. And there's all those bosses, the buildings. I had quite a good time. Now let me get into the story part of my experience. That was just the backstory, what the game was. Here's my personal experience. Now, in this roleplay community, you didn't have to roleplay and still be able to make friends. You know what I'm talking about? You were still able to make friends. And I remember I was a pretty high level. I was my black cat. Because one of the things I wanted to do was, I think it was around Halloween when I started, I wanted to make a black cat character and have that character as my one that I was going to use forever. And I still have him. His name is Midnight. Creative name, I know. So Midnight, I was on my character Midnight. And I was in the cash bot thing, and I noticed this brown dog there was 3 different sizes. There was small, medium, and high. And she was medium, and I was small. I was a small black cat. And, I noticed her, and, she was kind of, I don't know how you could say cute, but she was experienced, I guess I should say. So we started chatting, hey, what's up, you're cute, and stuff like that, When I was young, I was 12, nothing serious. And then, hey, would you want to hang out sometime? We can train. And then it started getting personal. She'd tell me about her life. I'd tell her a little about mine, hey, I go to blah, blah. Well, I go to middle school, or at the time I was still in, I go to elementary school. I like to hang out outside. And then she'll be like, pouring out to me, oh, well, I, live in New York, and I really don't like my life, and blah, blah, blah. And the problem with this is that on computers, you don't know who's on the other side. And it's bad. You want to know who's on the other side. So, anyways, cut to the chase. Her name was The Best. And we got to know each other, hung out. We started to know each other, known her. And this went on for about a few weeks. We're in a steady, I guess you could say, relationship or whatever. And then she wanted to get, physical. And I'm like, this is Toontown. You don't really do that. Like, if it's a chat game, that's a different thing. Yeah, it's more experience. But with Toontown, there was, Safe Chat Plus, and then Friend Chat. You could give people codes and talk freely to each other. You just couldn't say penis, because they would ban you. Because they would think, oh, something's going on, why would you say penis? So, it wasn't totally free chat. You just had to watch what you say. But you could say, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, something that you wouldn't be able to say in Safe Chat Plus. So, yeah. So, I remember her coming on one day, and I was online, just chilling. And I honestly don't remember what happened. But I had really liked this girl. And then, all of a sudden, she's like, well, I want your Facebook. And I went, whoa. Okay, listen up. I had known this girl for like a couple of days. And then we started going steady. And then I had known her for 2 weeks. And I had known her pretty well, her name, her eye color, or not her eye color, not that type of shit, but, what she likes to do, how, she told me her life and stuff. So I had a pretty good idea. All of a sudden, she comes out and says, hey, I want your Facebook. And I had done a pretty good job telling her about myself, so there was no reason why she needed more information about her. And I said, that's kind of personal. Why all of a sudden you want my Facebook? I had known you for 2 weeks. She didn't really ask me before. She's like, just give me your Facebook. And so I'm like, oh. Okay, so I gave her my Facebook, and she's like, this is what you look like, and I'm like, yeah, and she logged off. So I log off for the night, and I come back on the next day, I'm training, shit, and she comes back on. She's like, hey. I was like, yo. She's like, could you come over here? And I'm like, yeah. So I go to her, and her cousin, or whatever, is there, and I had met her a few days before, and we also knew another doc. She's a really good friend of mine. Like I said, you make friends, and we had this circle, I should say. Because at the time, I had one of my homeboys, I guess you could say, and we were good friends. And then we met this duck, and I thought, you guys should, go out and stuff. So, they were going out, and then me and her were going out. And they know each other, and then me and my homeboy know each other. So, me and my homeboy, we're cool. He was a mouse, I think, and I was a cat. And then the duck, she was one of my good friends. And I had known her a lot before. And, so she wasn't there. And her friend, I believe, was a duck too, but she was a little taller. The other one was short and stubby. This one was tall and medium and skinny, I should say. So, I'm sorry about going over appearances, but, so she's talking to me. She's like, I want to break up. And I'm like, what? Why? Like, all of a sudden, what's going on? She's like, I don't know, I just don't like you. You're kind of a jerk to me. Let's break up. I really don't like you. So, all of a sudden, I'm thinking, okay, what did your cousin talk to you about? Like, why, in God's name? I have been nice to you ever since, and then all of a sudden, she snapped. Something inside of her just snapped. So I was like, what's going on? What'd your cousin tell you? She's like, she wasn't telling me anything. We were just discussing, and I'm like, yeah, okay. She wasn't telling you anything, but you were discussing something. And she's like, yeah, and she said she thought it would be best if we kind of broke up. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I had to be honest, I was sad. I was pretty devastated. And I talked to her, and I got really emotional. Like, I was like, I don't think this is you. what happened, why are you like changing, you know, what happened, I can't believe this, why would you do this to me, like, I'm sorry. And that day I locked my Facebook because I didn't want her, you know, I didn't want her interfering with my personal life. And life would go on and I would meet other girls, but that has to be the biggest story of all of them, I guess I should say. So, yeah. I met her not too long ago. I had joined just for the nostalgia value. They messed it up. It's not that fun anymore. I met her, and I even, you know, I explained to her, hey, you know, I still think about that time that you kind of, like, messed everything up. And she's like, okay. I don't know. To this day, I was so confused. And I even talked to this duck girl, and she's like, she's messed up. You don't deserve her. And she really helped me through that time. And it really, really sucks. So, yeah, that's the Toontown Online story. Bottom line, it's a pretty good game. If you haven't played it before, I recommend doing it for like a month membership. It's got stuff to keep you occupied. If you have played it, I was Midnight. Now, there's a lot of people named Midnight, so you probably would know me. Don't get me confused. But if you want more information, check out Coach Zucchini. He doesn't play anymore. He just quit 2 weeks ago. But he is very experienced. He'll teach you the basics. So if you want more information before you play, talk to him. And he's got some pretty funny rants about Toontown. So that's all I have to say on the subject. All in all, I think it's a really interactive, nice game. It's got a nice role-playing community. It's got stuff to keep you occupied. Check it out. And